All right, so this is one of my favorite activities to do. When we're introducing the alphabet and developing the alphabetic principle, one of the first things I like is to grab my letter tiles or my magnets. Now, I want to give you a couple of hacks you can do with letter tiles if you don't already know. Now, of course, you can download these, print them out on cardstock, laminate them, have lots of different ones, but you definitely want to have sets for each of the students, or at least enough for pairs. And it's super important for them to do that. One of the things that I did so that they lasted a little bit longer is I actually went to Home Depot. I bought the 1-inch ceramic tiles with a nice fat Sharpie marker, and in my best Prince handwriting, I wrote all of the letters, both uppercase and lowercase, and then you spray them with some clear acrylic, and they really last for a long time. And the feel of the tile itself too is memorable in that. So, but what we're going to do here is simply talk about characteristics. Now, the activity in our book wants us to help them do with grounding letters in with their background knowledge, so with their name. So we would start with simply saying, find all the letters that are in your name. So we're identifying that that within our name there are letters. And so I'm going to look around. I'm going to find, let's see, my P. Where is my P? Let's see. There it is. My P, my A, the T, R, I, and then C. I have another I over there, and I already have an A there. So they identify too that that they have multiple letters in there, and then they notice that all these others are not in their name, and that's a great way to start it. Then from there, after playing around with just that, getting other people's in the classroom's names, the next thing that I would want to do, because we're still just trying to ground what what it means to have letters. What are these letters? So one of the things our book does skip over is teaching the concept about letters. And so before I even want to put too much depth into it, I want to be able to let them understand what these things called letters are. So the next thing that you'd want to do is do some discrimination. So I am looking, and first I want my students to find all the letters that simply have straight lines. So I'm going to make a group over here of letters that simply have straight lines. That is a curve, and you want them to utilize the terminology as best as you can. This has a straight line, but it also has some curved lines. So you want to go through here and find simply ones, yes or no. Do they have straight lines? Yes, this one has straight lines only. So I'm looking at ones that have straight lines only. Okay, my T has a straight line. I'm looking some more here. The K has a straight line. The V has a straight line. My I has a straight line and a little dot. So if I come back here and look, I'm going to find the Y. They have straight lines. So then my next thing, so I just want them to identify these as straight lines right now. Now I can come through. Remember, we have principles for letter. We have the name. We have the actual letter, what it looks like. And we have the sound, and we have the shape. So right now what I'm trying to do is just identify some of the shape parts. I haven't really gone through too much of the name parts yet. So now I want to look at ones that might have straight lines and curved lines. So I have the straight lines and the curved lines. Again, trying not too much to focus on the names of them yet, just that there are straight lines and curved lines. So I'm looking over here. I'm looking at straight lines and curved lines only. So straight lines and curved lines. Got that right there. All right. So here's my pile of straight lines and curved lines only. And now I have my pile that has straight lines and curved lines. I missed that. And that's a great activity as well, is that as your students are slowly moving across the alphabet, they might even notice, oh no, that one has a straight line and curved line. Like for example, I initially left these out because it looks like there's only a curved line, but then when we investigate, we see that there's a straight line in there as well. Okay, so what is left should only be ones that have curved lines. All right, so again, I'm not talking about anything else except for characteristics. These are my letters in our language. So letters in our language, and the alphabet is our language, that has straight lines or have straight lines only. Letters in our alphabet that have curved and straight lines. And then letters in our alphabet that only have curved lines. Now I can go back and I can make a pathway of something I've done previously, and that is, now let's find ones that are in our name again. So I have a T, or I have this one in my name. So it has a straight line, it has two straight lines, and I can start from the beginning. This letter has a straight and curved line. This letter has a straight and curved line. So you can walk through that. Now my suggestion is that we do this with our students multiple times, multiple days, a week at the most, where all we're really doing is asking them to discriminate. And when we start with helping them build pathways that our letters are composed of certain characteristics, when they start to handwriting, this will come in valuable. So notice that we're not writing anything yet. We're going to start with oral language discussion first. So now the next thing that I want us to do, now that we've done this multiple times, multiple days, the students are naturally going to discover that these have names in them. And so we're going to start to bring in the names. So I've hurricaned this a couple of times. We're now on maybe the second week. And so now I'm going to ask them to do the same things. And now I'm going to ask them to talk about, we're going to start putting some of the other principles together with it. Now, I do like to do the characteristics and keep them in their groups and talk about them. Because I have found that this helps with bridging to handwriting better when they keep talking about straight lines. How many straight lines do they have? So you see, I can even discriminate even more. Which of these only have straight lines? So I'm going to, and I'm talking about only straight lines. So now I have two that have either a straight line going down, three that have a straight line going down and a straight line going across as well. Maybe I want to then discriminate about ones that have straight lines and have straight lines and have diagonal or slanted lines. So then I have these two that have diagonal and straight lines, and then ones that only have slanted or diagonal lines, however you want to talk about them. So I could discriminate in this as well. Let's look at ones that might have straight lines and closed circles. So I have those, and I'm going to move them over. Straight lines and closed circles. Straight lines and closed circles. And then I might even just put this one in there because there's a straight line and closed circles, but with just a little bit of gap. The next thing I might want to do is I might want to talk about letters that have straight lines and curves. So straight lines and curves. I have these three letters here. And then my last ones are straight lines and humps. And we can then even discriminate to that 2 humps. So you can see that as well. And then with my curved lines, I can, ones that have only curved lines, ones that have curved lines and a bit of a straight line in there as well. So the more they recognize differences, the better. Now, in our last chapter, and actually in this one again, they do set an order of how we want to talk about letters. Remember, we don't want to introduce letter sounds that are too much alike, so that there's not a discrimination. But the next thing that I want to do is I want to start adding some of those principles in. So I want to take a look at my first one, and maybe I'm only doing this for a couple of days, and I'm only talking about these that have straight lines in them. So I want to start talking about their names, and I want to connect them with the sound. So here I'm going to say, one of our letters that is in our language that has a straight line only is an L. And so this is the L. I might even have them trace it with their finger, do some skywriting. But then we're going to talk about, is there anything else to that? This is a lowercase L. And then I want to bring in the sound. So the sound of L is O. And I want to do some discovery learning. So what do you notice about the sound of L? O. And some of the things I want to bring to their attention is that I could go on as long as I can until I run out of breath making the sound O. Okay, so I've given it a name. We've talked about its characteristics. We've given it sound, but now we need to add the feel of the letter. So we can do the outer feel of the letter coming down, but then I also want to give them that mirror. I want to have them put their hand on their throat. Ooh. Feel the vibration. We want to talk about that vibration and make that connection. So ooh, ooh. And when we put them together, going ooh, then we build more pathways about what this letter is. So the letter L has a straight line, and it's ooh, I feel it. Give them the mirror, what's happening in my mouth. I want to talk about that, discovery that. And I want to do that for each of these. And I would then just go through and talk about it. I can also now, if I'm still talking about this, only these letters right now, I can bring in handwriting. I can ask them to practice the shapes, either in sand, in the air, or let's give them a pencil and start to understand how to craft that. I want to use the characteristics. What do we know about the letter O? How is it, what are the traits? Oh, there's a straight line. And then a straight line and a dot, and a straight line and a straight line that goes across it. So I would walk through these. Again, introducing them only with the those that contrast each other. I would then walk through these and talk about the exact same things. First, talk about the characteristics, straight lines and slanted lines. I would want to bring in the shape of them, so a straight line and 2 slanted lines. For the K, I want to give it its name. I want to say K, straight line, 2 slant lines. I want them to do the tactile part with it. I want them to now make the sound k, k, k. What is happening? I want them to put their hand on their throat again. What is happening when I say the k, k, k? But then I want to say, oh gosh, how different is that from this one? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Where is it happening in the throat? But then also give them that mirror. I want to also give them what is happening to my mouth. I highly encourage sound phones so that they can correctly hear